Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'll be reviewing Extraction 2, now streaming on Netflix. Extraction 2 is obviously the sequel to the 2020 film Extraction, and it stars Chris Hemsworth again as the same character. We're having him take up kind of right immediately after the first film and experiencing kind of the trauma of that movie. And I have to say, while I gave the first film about a 6.5, I like this film just a little bit more. Action is a little less ridiculous and over the top in this one compared to the first one in my opinion, and in this one we have him going into a prison in Eastern Europe, in Georgia in particular, and he's trying to rescue the family of a notorious gangster and get them out of his clutches, out of kind of the oppressive world that they've been thrown into. Obviously things ensue, his brother is tracking him down trying to get vengeance for him. And overall, I really liked the tone and setting of this film compared to the first one. It reminded me a lot in many ways of Call of Duty. I'm a big fan of video games, and it felt very much like that. There's lots of big action set pieces that felt like you're being thrown right into a video game. One of the things that helps contribute to that is the overall use of different camera angles and kind of mounting styles that they did in this movie. They really took a lot of risks when it came to the way they filmed, particularly in the first act of the movie. I think there's some really awesome tracking long shots that they did in some prison sequences where we're kind of latched onto Chris Hemsworth's character, particularly kind of like attached to the barrel of his gun moving around, and I think it looked really cool. There's moments where they're in a big prison yard and there's tons of people coming and going, and it felt almost reminiscent of something like a Game of Thrones giant battle scene, but having it be like a modern kind of war movie, so I like the way that they did that. The movie also brings back kind of the brutality and intensity of the first film. It doesn't pull any punches, and there are some very graphic moments, so I definitely wouldn't recommend this movie for younger children. I'm pretty sure it's rated R or not rated. I think the first one was as well, but you know, it's always good to throw that out there. Hemsworth gives a solid performance. I feel like this one we get more of an opportunity to latch onto his character and kind of understand the struggles of his past and him dealing with kind of the lifestyle that he leads. And it does a decent job of kind of setting up potential sequels and kind of more lore in this universe, more akin to kind of how John Wick has done it in the past, where we're kind of getting more and more hints at the overarching schemes of everyone involved, the players involved in this universe. That's not to say that the movie doesn't feel a little generic at times. We have kind of a generic villain, a kind of a generic story happening, kind of a classic revenge tale, a few twists and turns, but nothing really to write home about. And while this movie may not have kind of the prestige filmmaking of a Mission Impossible, or maybe the creativity or the quickness and preciseness of a John Wick, I still think it's a fun movie. It's fun to check out. If you like the original movie, I think you'll like this one. And if you're like me and you thought the first one was just okay, this one is just a little bit better in my opinion. So if I were to rate Extraction 2, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think it hits a little harder on the emotional notes than the first film. I feel like it keeps the action tighter and more interesting compared to the first movie being very large and bombastic. This one still has those moments, but it feels a little tighter, a little grittier, a little darker than that first film. So if you checked out Extraction 2 on Netflix, let me know what you thought about it. How did it compare to the first film for you? How do you like it as far as these new wave of like action franchises that we've seen? I have to say, I personally liked it more than The Gray Man that's come out recently on Netflix, but like I said, it doesn't reach the levels of a John Wick or a Mission Impossible, and even movies that I've seen recently like Sisu that kind of take a more brutal take. I kind of enjoy that a little bit more, but that's me personally. I would love to hear your opinions. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.